God bless you, woman of God. Welcome to our channel. Today we will be talking about taking control of our finances, creating a budget that really works. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Rosa. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you have a friend or a family member that doesn't speak English and you want to share this content with them, send them to our YouTube channel in Spanish, La Mujer de Dios. The link will be in the description below. Last week we spoke about financial freedom after the crisis of the 2020. It's this video right here. I'll suggest you go watch it once you finish watching this one. To really obtain true financial freedom, we must learn to budget and take control of our current finances. We need to know what we're dealing with, what we pay every month, what we're working with, in order for us to be able to become free, financially speaking, and to be able to gain control. We need to prepare, we need to plan, and we need to manage accordingly. And for us to do this, for us to budget, for us to get financially free, the first thing we need to do is set our mind free. We need to change our mindset, the way we think about our finances. We cannot allow negativity, doubt, and misery to take control of our lives. If we have been poor all of our lives, we cannot think that we will never get ourselves out of this stage. We need to think positively. We need to think that we can do it. We can get out of debt. We can change our lives. We can make a change for the better for our future. It doesn't matter how poor or wealthy you are. Many times people find excuses or excuse themselves from not achieving anything in life because they are poor or because they don't have money to do any of the things they want to do. But the key here for us to become financially free is for us to understand that our thought life impacts our life. You need to observe where your thoughts are, where your priorities are, and where your heart is at. These are things that we need to keep in check. When we look at the parable of the talents, we see that the one that had the most, he had 5. He was giving more on top of what he had. But we also see the one that had less, that had 1, was even taken the one thing he had because he did not know how to administer his money. So we need to learn that if you do not have much right now, it is very possible that you have not known how to manage the little. We want God to give us more, but we don't know how to manage what He has already given us. But you know what? It is never too late to start. So the day to start is today. Why do we want or need to make a budget? The Bible says in Luke chapter 14, verse 28, because who of you wanting to build a tower doesn't sit down first and calculate the expenses to see if he has what he needs to finish it? The Bible instructs us that we need to budget. We need to plan and we need to prepare ourselves for the future if we want to accomplish anything in life. In a budget, there are 3 areas that we need to take into consideration. Number 1, we need a total count of our income. Everything and anything that we will receive, financially speaking, we need to account for. Whether it be salary, pension, bonuses, or the extras, which is if you have real estate that you rent and that money comes in to you, or if you have gifts coming in, or if you have any other extra side jobs or side hustles, all of that income, you need to take it into consideration. You need to account for all the income you will receive. Number 2, a total count of your debts or your expenses. As we mentioned in our previous video, we need to make a list of everything that we are responsible to pay. We need to make a list of all of our debts and all of our financial responsibilities. And number 3, account for all your envelopes on the envelope system. This will be a video coming next week. After analyzing these 3 areas, our expenses are divided into 4 categories. Number 1, our tithes. We tithe 10% of our total income to our local church to advance the kingdom of God. We need to take this into consideration when preparing our budget. Number 2, taxes. If you are a person that works for a private corporation that deducts your taxes ahead of time, you probably do not need to worry about this unless your income is high and you know that at the end of the year you have to pay for taxes. Also, if you are a self-employed person, you also have to account for taxes, for which either case we must set aside 10% of our total income in order to prepare ourselves in case we have to pay for these taxes. Number 3, we need to set aside 15 to 20% of our income for savings. You need to pay yourself first. I do understand if you have a lot of debt, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to set aside this much of money. But we need to work towards arriving at that stage. In the beginning, like I said previously on the 7 baby steps of Dave Ramsey, number 1, you need to save $1,000 for your emergency fund. And then your next savings goal is to save 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses in order for you to be able to cover for them in case of a major emergency like a sickness or losing your job, which will disable you from earning your monthly income. And we need to be prepared for this. Number 4, the rest of the money that we have received, we have to divide it into all of our financial responsibilities, all of our debts, and all of our bills. We must do everything in our power to cover the main things first. Like the Bible said, give Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give God what belongs to God. Then with the rest that we have available, we do everything that we are supposed to do. We need to get our financial house in order. The following lines should be present in our budget. Like we mentioned before, number 1, our tithes. Number 2, our taxes. Number 3, our housing expenses. Housing expenses are normally the largest bill in our finances. If you perhaps have an income of $2,000, it is recommended by the experts that you spend no more than 30% of your income in your housing expense. I know sometimes it's difficult depending on the area that you live, but that is the norm. That is what we are advised to do. If you make $2,000 a month in income, then your rent or your mortgage should stay below $600 a month, if at all possible. 4th line in your budget needs to be your utilities: water, electric, gas, internet. Because utilities is what you need the most in order for you to sustain or have your home running. 5, insurance: health insurance, car insurance, home insurance, any type of insurance that you may have. You need to have a line set in your budget for all your insurance expenses. If you have a car note, a car loan, you also have to have a line in your budget for this expense. Although it is advisable that we try as much as we can not to have a car loan, but there are things that happen. I know there are things that happens at certain points in time in our lives that we may need to have a car note, like I do right now. But you need to do what you can to get rid of it as quickly as possible. Gas: you need to account for your groceries, for the food that you buy at home. You also need to account for personal loans. Any loan that you might have taken out, you need to account for those expenses, as well as credit cards. We need to account for those expenses that we may pay them off as quickly as possible. Some of the other lines in our budget will be clothing, entertainment, going out to eat, medical expenses, subscriptions, the money that we would put in our envelope system, and any money left in order for us to have a balance of 0 that we would set aside for savings. After we pay all of our bills, any money left, we need to set aside for saving until we finalize saving our $1,000 emergency fund, and then we would use this money to pay off all of our debt. Savings is biblical. When we read Proverbs 13:22, it says, "The good man will leave heirs to his children's children, but the sinner's wealth is kept for the righteous." It is very important that we understand that in God's perfect plan, in God's perfect system, we were not created to be carrying the burden of debt. There are a few different ways you can do your budget. One of them is using a list like this, where you would do your budget. you would put your income on the top line, and then you would put every expense that you have in every single line that it provides for you. The date that it needs to be paid for, the amount of money that you pay for each debt, and how much you still owe after paying those debts. Me personally, I use a happy planner for my budgeting, and they have an insert, a budget planner insert. Most of you have probably seen this already, which you can add to your planner in case you use your planner for other things. You can add this section in each month in order for you to be able to utilize your month. It provides a few different pages. It provides a few different pages like lists, the budget boxes, stickers, dividers, and many other things. It's a great resource. They also have the sticker book, and you can find all of this probably in Michael's or Hobby Lobby. So I use the monthly view in my planner to do my bills. You would allocate each bill and each income on the day that is supposed to be either received or paid for. I have my mortgage, my gas expenses, my subscriptions. The subscriptions are anything like Netflix, Apple storage, Canva, any other type of Hulu, things like that. Any subscriptions that you may have that you pay monthly, you have to account for those as well. Electricity, life insurance, water, food shopping, groceries, credit card bills. You would put how much you pay to each credit card, car insurance, car note if you do have a car payment, and our cell phones, and our internet bill. I use each section to keep myself accountable for the day that things need to be paid and for the amount that I have to pay on each bill. I also schedule a day for do my budget review for the following month and to review how much I have spent on this current month that I have kept myself within budget. There are many other categories inside our budget that I line under envelopes on this row right here. But because we will be explaining this envelopes next week, I'm leaving this area empty so I can show you in our following video. I have kept our income private because I don't want all of my info out there on the internet, on social media. But I believe this will give you a good idea of what it is that you need to do. I also have a speaking engagement this weekend. We're going out on the 17th to Puerto Rico and coming back on the 21st. So I have to account for that trip for two things. I have bills coming up on those days that I need to make sure I pay for before I leave. And I also need to make sure that I account for the money that I will spend on that trip. So we need to always keep in mind things like this, different things that are happening differently than other months in order to keep yourself accountable. Me personally, I have gone through these stages a few times in my life. As a human being, I have made mistakes. I have paid off all of my debt and got back into debt again. Paid off all my debt and got back into debt again. I am not as bad as I used to be. Most of my debt has been paid off, but I still have a little bit of debt left. I'm working in this right alongside with you, but I can testify one thing to you. When I had no debt, the freedom that I experienced to be able to bless people, to be able to help people, to be able to do what I wanted and needed to do, it's amazing. So let's all work together to get our bills paid off, to get our debt paid off, so that we can live the life that God has planned for us to have. He does not want us to live in debt. He doesn't want us to live in bondage. He wants us to live free. So let's work together in order for us to achieve our financial freedom. If this video has been a blessing to your life, share it with a friend, hit like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Ciao.